Hey, Smart Christian, I want to answer this question that comes from someone who wants to remain anonymous. It refers to marriage. But before I do, just a reminder, if you have a question, send your questions to questions@smartchristians.org. I'll do my best to get to as many of them as possible. Can't get to all of them, but those that I get to, I will have those to play for you on the Patreon channel. So the link to Patreon is going to be in the description. Feel free to join. It's free to join. And so with that being stated, the question, the person wants to be anonymous, but the thing is, there are a lot of other questions that have this sort of theme. This is about a person who wants to be married and the parents are wanting them to slow down. Other questions have been, you know what, maybe I'm going too fast, or I think you're going too fast, or should I go too fast, or should I go faster? I'm going too slow. How do we do these things? And so I want to address this, but I also want to bring up a video, a portion of a video that I did just recently in a Q&A, and I want to play that first, and then I want to come back and then respond with some more. Interesting question. 20 years old, been courting my girlfriend for 1 year. How to know when both parties are ready? 2, how do I go against family norms of dating for an extended period? I don't know that it necessarily matters, 1, your age, but your age does play a factor, and then 2, how long you've been dating this person or courting this person. What matters is 1, where you are, who you are, where that person is, where in this case she, where she is, how she is. What is that you plan to do with your life? What is that she plans to do with her life? How do your goals match up? Can you define them? Do you know what she wants to do? How she wants to do? How do you see marriage working? Because listen, marriage is hard, and that's only if it's successful. Successful marriages are hard. And I can look at the audience and they can give me, anyone married, give them a testimony. Say amen. If marriage is hard, if you all think marriage is hard, say amen. That's only if it's successful. If it's not successful, it's even worse and hard. And because any man who enters into a task must first count the cost. Any man who does those things, you must think to yourself, what am I getting into? It becomes harder when you don't think things out. So I would say make sure that you're as prepared as you can be. Now, there's no such thing as being totally or completely prepared, but be prepared as you possibly can be. And make sure that this is the only time, the first and last time that I'm getting married. Divorce is not an option, but also make sure that you are prepared to be the person that is willing to sacrifice for the one you love. The other person also, now there's something heavy that you have to carry. And because you're the one that's responsible. Okay? And if you don't know how to be responsible, let me tell you what it means to be responsible. Okay? What it means to be responsible. And maybe, listen, you don't have to rush. You're 20. You don't have to get married before you're 21. Unless someone said they're going to do something to you, unless you have an inheritance that says that unless you're married by the time you're 21, you can slow down. Because it's not like you've been dating too long. You're only 20. So here's how you know. Here's how you know that you are ready, that you're prepared as a man. That you have determined that you are going to be the person that's going to be responsible. What does it mean to be responsible? That means no matter what happens, you're responsible. That means if the lights go out and she's a person with a checkbook, you're responsible. That means if you did all you can do and it still didn't work out, let's say she didn't uphold her end, you're responsible. That means if she's feeling bad and it was no fault of your own, you are responsible. You ought to love her. Amen. You ought to love her as Christ loved the church. You are responsible. Now, if you feel that that's where you are, then amen. The likelihood is, I don't know the case because it could be different. It varies from person to person, but the likelihood at your age, at only 20, maybe you're not ready. There was a time when 20-year-olds, and this is not your fault, this is just kind of how society is, when 20-year-olds were far more prepared than they are now. They were ready to go out in the world and work because they spent all their life working. There was no such thing as an excuse. No one allowed you to have an excuse growing up. Today, we allow folks to have excuses. We folks can take sick days. You didn't have sick days back then. There was a time where you didn't get paid days off. Now you do. Things have changed. Things are different. All to make things easier. The problem is if you spend your life having things made easier for you when things get hard, you don't know what to do. So as a 20-year-old, the likelihood of you being prepared to be that kind of person is probably small. Not to say that it doesn't happen or that that's not you, but do some inspecting. Ask people what they think about you. If people see a good character in you and people see that you are a mature man, I don't mean mature for a 20-year-old. I mean mature, period. Irrespective of your age. Mature if you were 30, 40, or 50. Because if you get married, you're about to step into some big boy shoes. And age is not an excuse for your divorce. Now, age can be a factor because you were young, you acted young, you behaved young, because obviously you think you're mature. What 12-year-old doesn't think he's mature? What 18-year-old doesn't think he's mature? What 30 or 40-year-old? I'm mature. Maybe the 40-year-olds. 40-year-olds. When you turn 30, you feel like, you know what? I'm still young enough. My body's still fit enough. But now I'm getting some wisdom. That's how you feel in your 30s. I've hit the sweet spot. But then you get in your 40s and you realize, man, I was dumb in my 30s. I thought I knew something. So, yes, my 13-year-old thinks he's grown. My 18-year-old feels the same way. My 5-year-old grandson thinks he's grown. My 13-year-old, 14-year-old granddaughter thinks she's grown. My 9-year-old granddaughter, she thinks she knows more than me. That's how it is. So you just pray. Can you stand to wait some time? Can you stand to wait another year or 2 years just to make sure you get it right? Because you want to get it right. Ain't no sense of rushing to a job and messing up versus taking your time and getting it right. I promise you, if she's the one for you, she'll be there in a year or two. You preparing yourself? What kind of job you got? What kind of money you got? Here's a question right now. Let me give you this question, and this can help you understand if you should get married. If you found out today that she cheated on you yesterday, would you still want to marry her? Ooh, all right. Let me grab Joey. I won't let that sink in for a second. And I don't know this young lady. But if you found out today that she cheated on you yesterday, would you still want to get married? No, heck no. I thought you loved her. Do you have financial wherewithal? Because she's going to expect when she hit the light switch that the lights come on. How much can you work? How many hours can you devote towards working? How many hours can you devote towards working and being a father and being a husband? How much weight can you lift? I'm talking about benching and squatting. How much weight can you lift? Because being a husband means you got an awful lot to carry when you don't want to carry it. And it also means there are times you can be emotional, but there's times where you have to put your emotions back to do some carrying. The field needs plowing. The animals need tending to. Those are things that you got to let it run through your head. I'm not saying, by the way, guys, I'm not saying go out and marry the first, if the person is cheating on you. That's not what I'm saying. But if your knee-jerk response is, I'm through, then maybe you don't love her. Maybe you love the idea of loving. So those are the things you ought to think about. And again, take your time. You got a lifetime to live. Amen. Now, there's more I can add to that, and I will. Again, and by the way, don't want you to think that it's okay if the person does something that is permissive of you to get a divorce and they've done that already. Because, by the way, if they've done that already, it might be a good indication. But the point that I want you to think of in that is how much are you really committed to that person? Because when we say we love someone, we need to understand what the word love means. We use the word too flippantly sometimes. The word love, just simply replace the word love with the word that you can better understand, and that's the word committed, commitment. when you're committed to something, you are going to see it through. For God was so committed. God shows his commitment to us that he died. He sent his son to die for us. That's commitment. I love ice cream. I love strawberry shakes. I love chocolate cake. Those aren't really things that we love. Now, there are some folks that are committed to something. There are folks that are committed to certain substances. They're committed to their jobs. They're committed to their children. You will do any and everything for that person. If you feel that way, if you know you are, well, then fine. But if you've got parents who feel as though, you know what, why don't you wait a little bit? Well, they might have a point. Remember, parents have been through far more than you have, and they bring a level of insight that you just don't have. And so if waiting is not going to hurt anything, well, then wait. How long should you wait? Well, talk it out. Because sometimes the parents have to pay for things. One set of parents have to pay for the wedding. The other set of parents have to pay for the honeymoon. That's money. That's time. That is also commitment, to use the word again, on their part. Because it's not just you getting married. It is two families coming together to form a larger family. And you want the mother and father of the bride to be accepting and giving their blessings, just like the mother and father of the groom. You want all parts involved to be on the same accord, and you want to do your very best. Obviously, it's you that are the ones that are getting married, but it's not just you alone. You're bringing in more than just the two of you. And so if there's nothing pressing, well, then I would wait. If they're asking you to wait, depending upon how long. Now, do you have to wait a year or 2 years? I wouldn't, not necessarily, but listen to your parents. If you've always valued their opinion, then keep valuing it. If waiting a few more months doesn't hurt anything, wait a few more months. Especially if you're not going anywhere, there really is no rush. And I understand when you're young, you want to get into things quickly. But it also gives you more time to find out more about the person. What can happen? Well, you can find out more about the person. You might find out if it causes you to rethink things. Amen. You didn't enter into anything too hastily. You have more thought, or you're just better prepared. You've got some things that you want to get taken care of before then, because you do have to get yourself ready if you're the bride and if you are the groom. Nothing wrong with that. So be careful that you're not rushing, but at the same time, if you can wait an extra month or 2 months or 3 months for the sake of your parents, why not do it? Because again, it's not just you getting married to this person. It's also you and your side of the family getting married to that person and their side of the family, because you become in-laws. And you want to have a good, cohesive, happy unit. My daughter married her husband, who lived across the street from this house. They got married, and so both families are friends. Their boys come over all the time, and so it's a good thing all the way around. And that's really what you want. Amen. So I hope this has helped. I hope this has been a blessing. I hope this can kind of help with anything that you're going through. And if anyone else has any questions, please don't hesitate to send your questions to, or submit them to, questions@smartchristians.org. Again, I'll do my best to get to them. The questions will be answered on Patreon. Once again, it's free. The link is in the description. Go ahead and join there. We'll play the answers over there, and some of those questions will find their way over to the YouTube channel. So again, I hope this has been a blessing. I hope this has been a benefit, and look forward to hearing more of your questions.